Hi, and welcome to Nav School, where we learn precision visual navigation. This is lesson 2, where we go flying with the map that we drew in lesson 1. So, before we start, I'll just talk you through what you're going to see on the displays today. On the left hand side, you're going to have a moving map display. At the back in black is the line and the timing that we generated when we did lesson 1. In red, you will then see where we actually are flying over the ground, and then below it a cumulative stopwatch timing, and then we'll be able to compare how that ties in with the actual timings that we are flying. And then on the right hand side you'll see the view, pilot's eye view of the navigation features as we're flying over them. So let's get on with it. Okay, so we're just coming into the start point now. Distinctive wood, and as we go over the top, buildings on the right, stopwatch runs. I'm now looking ahead for my first fixed point. I can see a nice distinctive wood. A small rectangular shaped one, so I'm going to be looking for that, and I need to be just going down the left hand side of that wood. Looking further ahead, I can see there's the large group of woods out on the right hand side. My first fixed point at 1 minute 55 is the last wood beyond that, so it's the end of the woods on the right, it's the last wood. So that's starting to show up. I've got some other woods between me and it that aren't showing on my map, so I can just ignore those. So I'm just looking at the last one. That's showing up really quite nicely now. So then just beyond the wood I can see a Y-shaped road junction, and then I can see a farm. In fact, I can just see a car at the road junction now. I can then see a farm. And just to the right of that I can see some other buildings, which appears to be the track I need on the way out. So at the moment I know where I'm going, I've got my fixed point lined up, and then beyond that I can see my route out. So you can probably just see a road on the car on the Y-shaped junction now, then the farm, then the small group of buildings, and my wood now that I'm looking for, my fixed point 1 minute 55 is showing up lovely. It's directly just below. I'm going to put a circle on it on the map. And my exit track is going to be roughly this, looking at the nav line that I've got. So just coming over the top of the first fixed point now, so that's 2 minutes and 7 seconds, so I'm running about 12 seconds late. I'll remember that for the next point, which I'm due to be there at 3 minutes 55, so I should be there around about 4:10, about 15 seconds late. So looking ahead towards my next fixed point, it's a nice big feature, so I'm looking for a group of woods on the right hand side, some clear space, and then some woods again on the left hand side. And where those two meet at the northern end, that's where I'm looking to be picking up my next fixed point. I've got a nice linear feature just off to the right hand side now, and then also off to the left hand side, so I know where I am and where I'm going. I'm on track, I'm pretty much on time, but I'm probably about 12 to 15 seconds late. So now I'm going to use the time. I know I've got a couple of minutes until I get to my next fixed point, so now is a really good time to look around, maybe do a fuel check or something else like that, because you've got time on your hands. You don't need to be looking at the map the whole time. So just coming in towards this fixed point now then. It's looking quite nice. The track that goes off in about the 1 o'clock direction is much more obvious than I was expecting it to be, so I'm going to know exactly when I'm over the top of that, so that's all looking good. Should be there around about 4:05 to 4:10. Looking further ahead now, so I know exactly where I am now. Looking ahead, I can see my next fixed point. It's that quite distinctive wood that's got the row of trees going into it from the left and also from the right. So I already know where I am and what my next fixed point is. And actually looking beyond that, I can see the next one lining up already. So just coming over the top of the fixed point that was 3 minutes 55, so that's 4 minutes 10. So I'm about 15 seconds late. So I'm probably losing time all the way along this leg. But as long as I take that into account, I don't really mind, because this isn't a timed leg, it's one that we're just seeing if we can use the timings to work out whether we're early or late and take that into account. So looking for my fixed point then, which is coming in at 4 minutes 55. I can just see it showing up nicely now. I've got a track, in fact 2 tracks coming in, joining just at the south of the wood. I need to be just to the right hand side of that, so I'm slightly left of track. I'm just going to start correcting. Expecting to be there. It was supposed to be 4 minutes 55. I think I'm probably running about 20 seconds late by the time I get to it, so I should be there around about 5:15, maybe 5:20. And then looking ahead already, I can already see my next fixed point, the one that's supposed to be at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. That's showing up nicely. I need to get the right hand corner of that. So that's over the top of our fixed point now, the one that's supposed to be at 4 minutes 55. We're there about 5:15, so we are running about 20 seconds late. So I'm expecting to be at the next one, if we say about 25 seconds late, that'll put us there at about 6:15, showing up really nicely now. And this is a great feature of a directional wood. It's very obvious which way I should be going, so I should be in this bottom right hand corner and then sliding up the right hand side of it, and then just leaving probably about 50 meters of the wood on the right hand side on exit, and that should set me up nicely then, looking for my my small, well, very small group of buildings I've got coming up as my next as my turn point. So over the top there, that's 6:10, so we're holding about 20 seconds late. Okay, so looking ahead now, I can see the big red road that's showing up really nicely, disappearing off into the distance, and actually I can see where there is a wood just to the left hand side of that road, a nice distinctive wood. Looking at my map, that is the wood I need to be this side of on my exit, so I can start to see that road junction showing up nicely. I'm going to be going just this side of that road junction on my exit, and that also gives me a really good nav feature, because I can now see from that road junction, I can follow the road up to the rough area where my turning point is going to be. You can also see just off to the right hand side, just next to that wood, there is a larger sort of farm building area. And then also to the left of where I think the turn point is, there's a very distinctive wood, Scorer's Wood I think it's called, so that is roughly the area I'm going to be looking for, to the right of the wood on the left, to the left of those buildings on the right, and it's now starting to show up really quite nicely, that area of the buildings that are at the end of that skinny line of wood with the road coming in from the left hand side. So I know I'm turning left, I need to be mirroring that road as I turn. And now I also know I'm about 20 seconds late, so I'm expecting to be there around about 8:25. Starting to show up now, that's looking good. So just to confirm, I've got a couple of buildings, one each side of the road. I've got Rudge Farm, which is just off to my right, and I've got Scorer's Wood just to my left hand side, so that's all looking good. And then as I come into the target area, I'm going to be turning left, and the road that's just going off to my left hand side now, I'm going to be turning and placing myself directly over the top of that initially, looking for my next road junction, which is my next fixed point. So that road showing up really nicely with a building to the south and the building to the north, and there's the junction just off to the left hand side of it, so I'm directly over the top now. And that's 8:21, so it's 16 seconds late. Okay, so bang on to my next heading then. So looking for the road that I was going down my left hand side, which will be crossing my track shortly, and then I'm looking for the road junction, the four-way road junction with the wood just beyond it on the right hand side. So that's all looking good. So I know exactly where I want to be, and I'm running about 16 seconds late, so I'm expecting to be there around about 10:05. But on a different heading, this could have a different effect on our wind, on the wind that's affecting us, which is going to be affecting our timings on this leg. So I can just see a car going along that road. Where it is now is roughly where I want to be, so I'm just going to aim directly for there. Now, advantage with this type of navigation where you're hopping from fixed point to fixed point is that once you've identified a fixed point, you can then spend the rest of your time in your capacity doing other things. You don't have to focus entirely on the map the whole time. So fixed points coming up now. It's obvious that we're going a lot slower over the ground. Our ground speed is much slower than it was before. So we've picked up more headwind than we previously had. So a tailwind on the last leg, we've got a headwind on this leg, and it's blowing from left to right, and I can feel it trying to get me over the top of that road, so I'm going to keep left as much as I can. So just coming over towards the top of the fixed point now. Very distinctive junction, so that's 10 or so over the top, so we're about 20 seconds late. So I can see the road that I'm supposed to be paralleling, that's just drifting off nicely to the right hand side. But what I'm looking for now is my next fixed point, which is the doesn't look very good to be honest with you from here, but it's the bend in the road that's just to the east of Chisbury. Now I can see Lower Farm standing out quite nicely, that's looking quite good. And then just to the left of that, as we're looking at it, I can also see a small wood as well. So I've got the road on the right hand side, I've got Lower Wood, I've got a small wood between me and Lower Wood, and then another small wood just to the left of that. So it's good, I know where I am, I know where I'm heading for, and annoyingly I can't see my fixed point, but I can see other things that I'm using to get to my fixed point. So this is a really bad fixed point. They should be big, they should be unique, and they should be directional. This isn't big and it's not unique. I'm having to use other features to get to it. So there's a real learning point there. Don't use stupid features like the one I've just chosen. So Lower Farm's just coming down our right hand side now, and then that small wood, and then I've got a row of trees which then goes along our track, and that points to roughly where the road is that we're looking for. Okay, so I've got a small farm, looks like a tractor or farm vehicle now, which is going towards our left hand side. So I think that the bend in the road I'm looking for is the one that goes somewhere at the end of this track to that row of trees coming out from our right hand side. Now what's really obvious now is that big circle of trees on the right hand side is what is the earthworks just to the south of Chisbury, and that would have been a much better navigation feature. We saw that from a couple of kilometres away. I'm now probably a kilometre away or half a kilometre away from my next fixed point, and I'm having to work hard to see it, but I can see it. It's below me now, and I'll give you a better shot in a moment. So we were running about 20 seconds late at the last turning point, due to be here at 12:55, so it should be around about 13:15 as we go over the top. Looking at the timing, we're much closer to it now than I expected to be, so we seem to be making time up on this leg. So just coming over the top of it now, it's quite distinctive, so that's 13 minutes as we go over the top. So that's 5 seconds late now. We were 20 seconds late before, so we've made 15 seconds up so far, so we're going to be making time up all the way along. So looking ahead, I can see Great Bedford just off to our right hand side, Great Bedwin rather, just off to our right hand side, very distinctive end of the village, very distinctive square right next to where that railway is showing up, and then slightly closer to us than that we've got the road and also the road junction as well, so I know where I am. So looking ahead now into the fix point. From the town I'm looking across to the left hand side, I'm looking for a large wood with a very distinctive point on it. Now looking at it now, it's much less of a defined wood than I was expecting. There's quite a few gaps in it. So I'm going to just use again a couple of other features. I've got great bedwind coming down the right hand side, which is excellent. And then looking ahead, I can see a farm track or similar going into the edge of that corner of the wood that I can see. And then to the right of that I can see a bridleway by the looks of it, and then another road coming off of or a bridge going over that railway. So that is telling me that I am roughly where I want to be, and I think it's the edge of this wood here, the corner of this wood. They've obviously taken some of the wood away and the map isn't as up to date as it could be. So that is going to be my next nav feature, my nav point, my fixed point as I go over the top. I'm running about 5 seconds late but making time up, so I think if I'm due to be there at 15:55, I'm going to be slightly early. I'm going to go for about 15:45 is what I'm expecting to be over the top of the corner of that. Got a bit of time on my hands, so I'm just going to be looking ahead. I can see the road lining up nicely now, comes in from the right hand side, and I can see a large wood off to the right hand side of that road, which is what is going to be looking like the wood to the right hand side of my end fixed point. So that's already starting to line up now. I've got the final turning point, I've got my fixed point that's coming just shortly below us now, and then I've got a great linear feature that I'm going to effectively be flying up to get me to my next fixed point. So getting over towards the top of this this fixed point now. It's supposed to be there at 15:55. I think we're going to be there slightly early. So as over the top there at 15:40, so we're 15 seconds early. So that's another 10 seconds. No, sorry, that's 20 seconds we've made up. Now looking ahead into where we think the fixed point is. So I can see a very distinctive road. I've got a wood on the left, and I've got a wood on the right. Now that wood on the left actually sort of reaches out and touches the road. That is actually shown on the Ordnance Survey map, which is good. Just beyond that I've got a road junction. I follow the right hand side of that road junction, the fork in the road that goes off to the right, and then as it bends round to the right hand side there's a straight track. So that is my end turning point. So I know already roughly where I'm going to be going. I've got about a minute and a half till I get there. So again, I just have a quick check of the map and just make sure that I know exactly where I am and what I'm doing next. So at the end of this I'm going to be turning right. That keeps me out of the glider site. I can see all my nav features lined up nicely. So I've got the wood, I've got the junction, I've then got a bend in the road with that distinctive track that's coming into it, and at the end of that there are some buildings. So I know where I am. Just going to have a quick look around and make sure there's nothing else, no other traffic that I could be flying into, and then just getting a decent outbound heading. So once I get to my next turning point I know exactly where I'm going. Always thinking and planning ahead so that you don't get there and then wonder what you're doing next. You know well in advance what you're going to be doing. So we were 15 seconds early at our last turning point, and we're making time up all of the time. So I think we're going to be there somewhere between 18:10 and 18:15 is my estimate. So that track's showing up really nicely now with the buildings on it. I can see a building just near that wood, halfway up on the left hand side, and then the small group of buildings in the woods at the end. So looking down now, that is definitely my turning point. Due to be there at 18:45. We're obviously running significantly early now. We can talk about that afterwards, but I think basically the wind is not as it was forecast to be. As we go over the top, I'm going to call that at 18:10 by the time we get there. So that's 35 seconds early. Not too bad on an 18-minute flight. So in lesson 1 we saw how to plan a precision route and to apply timings based on your wing speed and also the wind speed and direction. And then we flew that in lesson 2, and it's very easy to see how by taking a systematic and a sensible approach you can fly around pretty much any route as long as you've got some decent nav features to be able to use. We chose particularly poorly on one of them when we couldn't find our fixed point until we're almost on top of it, which just highlights the fact that fixed points need to be big, unique, and ideally add a sense of direction, because you generally don't fly with a compass. The other thing to consider is that if your timings are awry, it might be that your wing speed is not correct, i.e. you haven't measured it properly. Or the other thing is, and the more likely thing, is that the wind speed or the wind direction is different to what you've planned. As long as you have an understanding of that, you can just factor that into the time that you're expecting. So you plan on the ground and then replan when you're in the air. But you should be able to go on a route and be accurate timing to within plus or minus a minute every 20 minutes or so. So I hope you enjoyed it, and stay subscribed so that you can see other videos on navigation coming up in the future.